Hey guys, my name is Nexus, back with a little update video. So about 4 months ago, I ended up losing my computer. Not really losing it, but anyway, my case fan broke, and that means it was overheating, and unfortunately, my graphics card fan also broke. They both have fans. It's just how they work. Anyway, at that point, it was kind of when I just decided I might as well just get a new computer because I had a low-end PC anyway. Couple different reasons where I was just like, you know what, it's just gonna be cheaper in the long run instead of having to replace, bit by bit, piece by piece.
Still, it'd be nice to get the drop on him.
Things like that.
Hey there, friend.
Yeah, so anyway, what I'm doing is I'm testing my gamma settings, making sure things work properly, because unfortunately, this new PC has Windows 8, and that has changed quite a bit of how Thief operates. There are a couple things that it does now that didn't do before. For example, I have 2 graphics cards now. It's awesome, it's amazing, I can play almost any game I want. It's pretty cool, actually. I can get back to my Steam backlog of games, which is kind of what I've been doing for the past 4 months in my spare time. So, sorry about that, not gonna apologize too much for that, but I don't know. It's stuff to do, I guess.
Inside at last.
It's kind of one of those things where you look down and realize, wait a minute, it's been 4 months. Jeez,
I've been thinking.
how the heck did that happen?
The sir could really beef up.
So, anyway, what I'm doing is I'm testing all my settings, making sure things are right again. And one of those things in particular is the gamma settings, and I figured I'd go through this with you guys for once because a lot of people seem to think my gamma's too high, and you're right, it is much higher than most people play at. There are actually really good reasons why I do this. In particular, one of those reasons has to do with what my goal is. My goal when I play fan missions is not to just play them, it's to showcase them. It's very different than just playing a game for fun, or even just playing a game for fun to show other people. Like, it's not the same thing. Part of what I'm doing inherently requires that you guys be able to see every aspect. So, let me go ahead and bring this back down from my usual settings, which is about between here and here depending on the fan mission. And I'm going to bring it back down to what I remember default being, which actually might have been darker than this. I kind of think it was about this, but I'm not really sure. Anyway, I want you guys to honestly tell me, the dude on the left, can you actually see him? Can you actually see down that left-hand hallway? I can, but this is because my monitor is bright, not because the game is bright. I can see down there, but if it were any more detailed than that, I wouldn't be able to tell you necessarily everything that's going down that hallway. Like, the lighting in this mission is objectively better than a lot of the earlier fan missions, just by nature, because the dev team understood the lighting system, because they made the engine. Because they understood the way the lighting works, they were able to tweak it better. And, fan mission authors were not. It takes practice and experience. So, when I bump this back up, I want to make sure that this is viewable on YouTube, because I know for a fact that the way YouTube handles things typically is, typically what ends up happening is things are darker just automatically. The process of encoding will make it somewhere between 5 and 10% darker. That's not anybody's fault, it just is a fact of the way YouTube handles videos. Now that may have changed over time, I don't really know, I haven't tested it in quite a while, but when I first started out, I tested it, it was a well-known fact. And here's the thing about Thief. The lighting engine in Thief Gold and Thief 1 is not, it's not as good as Thief 2. That's my own personal opinion, but that's just what it is. I really don't think the lighting is as good. The thing about this is, this should be very bright. It just by nature should be very bright up close, and anywhere where this is red should be very bright, because that's the brightest setting. It's basically telling me that we're in complete and total view, it might as well be daylight. So, when you start getting out to like yellow, it could change a little bit, but in this case it wouldn't make sense because I'm still directly next to it. It's not exactly a subtle light. It's not a dim light. And here's the problem with this, is there are cold lights and warm lights. This is a cold light. It is a very stark sort of, I guess bluish white would be the way to say it, but it's a very icy sort of white color that changes things. It's hard to explain without using actual lighting to explain it, but warm lights would be like torchlight, which usually has like a red or yellow glow. If you've ever been near a campfire or a fire pit, anything like that, you would understand the difference between what is a white light and a reddish light, like a warm light and a cool light. So anyway, every single light in Thief Gold is cold, sort of stark whites, pretty much. Very few exceptions. Most of the lighting in this is just this stark white that makes everything brighter but washed out, which is most of the complaints about the high gamma. So my issue is you'll have areas like this in both the regular game and in fan missions where you have a sudden drop into shadow. So obviously the delineation between the two light and dark areas should be pretty big. If I were playing this for just myself, I would probably be playing, let's see, it's about this, I think. So it's dark enough in the darkness where you really get a sense that it is actually dark, but the problem is I'm not playing for myself. I'm playing to show you guys. So if I'm trying to show you this one wall which is only in darkness, that has a cool texture, that's custom, that they only used on the one wall and only the portion that's in darkness, you're going to have a lot harder of a time seeing it unless I get up real close and then you can't see anything. So part of why I have such a high gamma is to showcase just the nature of how the lighting system works means I have to have my gamma high up, which means things are more washed out. If I was looking at that from the perspective of someone who says, oh, this texture looks washed out, I don't think I've ever said that, actually, to date, on any of the custom textures, because I know the gamma is like that. I know what it looks like when the gamma is not like that. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents on that. I'm going to go into Thief 2 and check out their gamma settings while I keep talking about this update. Anyway, yeah, gamma settings, back to that. Default gamma settings would be something like, oh, let's see, I believe it's half, I'm not actually sure. So each step in gamma, when you press the button to go up and down, like the way it handles it in-game, in Thief 2, there are a lot fewer steps, so each time you press the button, the change is more dramatic than it is in Thief 1 and Thief Gold. It is actually flickering, that's not just me. I'll have to fix that. Regardless of anything else, though, these lights look good from a distance and up close at this gamma setting. This gamma setting is actually a lot more reasonable than the gamma setting in Thief 1 that's default. The problem I have with it is, if you are not outside, if you are in a dark area like this, the odds are pretty good that nobody's going to be able to actually see what's going on. So if I step in here, no, I'm good. And it is actually flickering, so that's going to be an issue. But if you're not in a bright texture area, is the way I want to explain this.
This must be the door Basso mentioned.
Like this looks pretty good to me. But it's also too dark, and I know that for a fact because I've checked it out on YouTube and it's much darker than it appears here. Which means I need to put my gamma settings. My key bindings are different than I remember. Alright then, gotta fix that too. Anyway, which means I have to put my gamma setting actually brighter as a result of the difference. So like this area is really dark. It's going to look really dark in the video. If you can make out the detail on this one compared to this one, you know, feel free. They're the exact same desk. Make that determination. Decide if it's something that you can handle watching, because I can't. This is something, when I watch this on YouTube, I can't really handle seeing everything like this. It just is too dark most of the time. Part of that is the encoding. Part of that is if you're not watching it in full screen, you've got that white background to deal with that makes everything darker. So what I do is I take my gamma all the way to the top. And I say, yeah, this is probably a bit too bright. So I start bumping it down, checking out the way the shadows change, checking out the way the light changes, what kind of brightness am I in, what kind of darkness am I in. See, it's supposed to be really bright here, but it's not. Just the way the lighting engine works means you're going to have those kinds of issues where something that is supposed to be bright looks dark, and something that's dark is actually going to be bright. You know, it goes very quickly from bright to dark right there, but it doesn't look that way. Like, just the way the shadows look, it shouldn't be that way, but it is. So I really think Thief 2 did a lot better on the lighting. There's more colors of lighting. When you have the gas lamps, you have this nice halo effect, which is pretty realistic, actually, and it looks nice. So the thing is making sure when you step down in Gamma that everything is still going to be visible. So I actually spent time making a Gamma test video, and I did that, and I tested out the Gamma, and I tried to determine whether or not something was going to be too dark. Because if I wanted to talk about these windows, I want you guys to be able to see the windows. Anyway, more to the point, all of these windows are in shadow, so if you can't see the windows because it's too dark, you can't see the windows. I can't comment on them. Like, it would be weird. It wouldn't make sense. You can't see them. I mean, I could comment on these windows, but those aren't those windows over there. What if those windows over here are different? Anyway, it's things like that. I'm not necessarily playing at my Gamma because I want to. Like, this is okay for me. This is not something I would want to do if I wanted to challenge myself in Thief. But that's not the point. I've played through all the fan missions once. I already challenged myself, as far as I'm concerned. And then this room would be, what, completely black to you guys if it were on darker settings? I mean, there's differences. I've watched other people's videos. I've watched my own videos. I understand how the lighting engine works, to some degree. Just the way it works, there's certain things that I don't like to see and that I do like to see. And in my opinion, if you guys disagree with me completely, I can handle it. I'm still not going to go below a certain point in Gamma settings, but my point still stands. If you can't see, even on this Gamma setting, into here with enough detail to determine that there's some loot on this shelf, I mean, it's an issue. It's an issue. That's all I'm saying, because I want you guys to be able to see that that's what I'm going for when I go into this room with my head up. That's kind of it, essentially. So yeah, that's the be-all, end-all of Gamma settings right now. I'm trying to think if there are any other updates. I mean, I know my work's getting crazy because we're nearing the end of our sales season. Sales, I mean, there's going to be sales afterward, but like, our sales season goes until September 1st. So we have a lot of crazy things we have to do to get ready for that. We want to make sure that every contract gets signed. We want to make sure that things happen. And I can't go into too much detail about what it is I do now because, unfortunately, you know, company secrets, etc. makes you sign contracts that you state that you won't divulge certain information. And I mean, our sales season isn't secret, so I can probably, like, discuss that, but if I told you what company it was, I probably wouldn't be able to. So, there's things like that. And just things like that to consider. And the problem is, because this is a record that's going to be kept for literally the end of time unless I delete it, or it gets deleted for whatever reason, I can't later say where I work. So there's things like that
Well, that's her door. Yes, Basso can open it.
There's just things like
He's
that
not
to
much
consider.
of a sneak, but he can sure handle a lock.
Shut up, Garrett. I'm talking. Things like that to consider, though. But yeah. Anyway, I'm hoping to get back to videos soon. Now that I've got my settings worked out from Thief on Windows 8. Really fun to do, I gotta say. Picked up a few Steam games on the Steam sale that's happening right now. Probably will actually get to recording some of those too. So anyway, I guess I'll see you guys in future.